Hey folks, it's Rick Wilson. Welcome back to the Enemies List podcast here on Lincoln Square. Did you have any doubt what the enemies list would be this week? Was there any question? It's the entire clack of sycophants, enablers, funders, wannabes who have put Donald Trump's will to work and destroyed the East Wing of the White House. I'm not letting this one go. I'm not letting it go. The obscenity of this is not just Trump's normal transgression of, oh, I'm going to own the libs. This is a fundamental, sick, wrong, disgusting abuse of presidential power at a level that is almost incomprehensible. And I know the MAGA folks are like, hey, the libs are snowflakes. They can't believe that Trump did. You know why I can believe it? Because I see it with my own eyes. You know why America can believe it? Because they witnessed it. They witnessed the desecration of one of the sacred spaces of American life. They witnessed it with their own eyes. And so Donald Trump and his enablers are on the enemies list this week. But remember, the people that made this happen, the donors, the funders, the contractors, the staffers, all the gentry and MAGA-style Republican conservative media that are defending it, I just want to take a moment. National Review seems to think this is their way to suck Trump's ass. And they've been writing articles for 3 or 4 days now. Like, oh, well, of course Trump has the power to do this. It's wonderful, building a ballroom. I know this is a pointless exercise, but if Barack Obama had done this, or if Joe Biden had done this, or if Bill Clinton had done this, you would be screaming bloody murder, because one of the primary things that we supposedly believe as conservatives was to conserve the historical fabric of our country. And if you don't think the East Wing was a part of that, then you are a lying, hypocritical sycophant to a mad god. I want to read the donor list to you, because again, this is one of those exercises where I'm going to read you the donor list, not because the donors are at fault. That's a puerile explanation by juvenile idiots who say they're the ones who did it. They're the ones who are paying for it. They are parts of a constellation of vile corruption, and you should know and think about their names. You should remember their names. So we're going to do it. It's a little bit of a list, but I'm going to read it. I want you to hear it. The Altria Group, Big Tobacco. Amazon, Jeff Bezos. Apple, Tim Cook. You are a disappointing, truly disappointing person, because you don't believe any of this crap. Booz Allen Hamilton. Caterpillar. Amazing. Caterpillar. You guys are being screwed by the tariffs, and you're still donating. Coinbase. Oh my gosh. The Coinbase guy just got a pardon and gave money to build the ballroom. That is a shocking development. I could not believe that. Heaven forfend, there's no connection there, is there? Comcast. Pepe and Amelia Fanjul. That's Big Sugar. If I were king, that would be over the subsidies for sugar in this country. We're talking about protectionism. Hard Rock. Google. Sundar, I know you don't want to have them rule against you and split up Google, but you are guaranteeing that we're going to split up Google. HP, Lockheed Martin, Meta. Mark Zuckerberg is on this list the most spectrumy in a lot of ways, and the most idiotic in a lot of ways, and the most amoral in a lot more. Micron Technology. Oh, well, another company the government's going to bail out. Microsoft, Bill Gates. Come on, dude. You may be on the Epstein list, but don't make it worse. Next Era Energy. Palantir. Wow, Palantir supporting this. I can't believe it. The company that's becoming the Death Star of data in America. Ripple. Not the cheap wine from the 70s, fellow Gen Xers, but in fact, another crypto thing. Reynolds America. More tobacco. T-Mobile. Got T-Mobile for your phone service? Think again, people. Tether, another crypto play. Union Pacific Railroad, I don't know why. The Adelson family, because the Adelson family will give Trump whatever he wants. Stephen Brody, Betty Wold Johnson, Google her. I'm sorry, the Betty Wold Johnson Foundation, Google them. Charles and Melissa Cascarilla, I don't know who that is, honest answer. The Glazers, Edward and Sherry Glazer, again, Google them. Harold Hamm, for fuck's sake. Benjamin Leon Jr., the Lutnick family, the Perlmutters, Laura and Isaac Perlmutter. Steven Schwartzman, well, look at that. The commander-in-chief of Blackstone. Surprising. Konstantin Sokolov, for fuck's sake, again. Kelly Loeffler and Jeff Sprecher. I guess she's running for Senate again. Paolo Tirmani, Cameron Winklevoss, and Tyler Winklevoss. More crypto. Folks, this ballroom is being constructed, in many cases, on the backs of your consumer choices. You know what these people are. You know they're all opportunists. You know they're all thinking right now that they have more to risk from pissing Trump off than they do from pissing off their customers. Now, a lot of these people are just here rent-seeking, like the Fanjuls. That's just rent-seeking. They just want to protect their industry and keep their special dispensations for Big Sugar to pollute the Everglades, destroy South Florida's watershed. shield America from cheaper sugar elsewhere. All the crypto bros, it's just part of the broader crypto corruption bullshit. The few people on there that are on the Israel, Trump, Bibi thing, whatever. None of this would have happened without him. He is the singular first mover of this project. He is the one person who caused this to come into being. He is the one person who made this hideous carbuncle, this cancerous blob, this tumor they want to slab onto the White House a reality. It was him. The piece I wrote this week called The East Wing Obscenity has been I'm very honored by how graciously it's been received, but it's a piece I should have never had to write. And I'm going to say this as a conservative now. The idea that history matters, that the things that were created by the founders and our forebears construct a continuity of history, of time, of tradition. They don't always play out in every part of American society. We live in a lot of year zero kind of stuff, but we didn't in the White House. And I've been to the White House for work many times, for projects many times. It's an honor to go there. And when you go there, the East Wing was the ceremonial wing. The East Wing was the symbolic wing. The East Wing was where a lot of history was compressed and stored, and it felt like a place that could have any American walk in that door. The high and the low, astronauts on the one hand, high school athletes on the other. It wasn't the hushed power corridors of the West Wing. It felt different. And now that is gone. And if you don't understand why it's gone, I want to enlighten you a little bit. And again, this is another, I'm going to say this again as a conservative. A lot of my listeners are not conservatives. That's fine. Tradition and history and behavior in this country is not universal in its uplifting of our traditions. But again, in the East Wing, that was a place where it was a place of grace and quiet and dignity. It was a place that wasn't about people coming to Washington to worship at the foot of the king. It wasn't about people coming to Washington to drop to the knee and say, "Oh, dear Lord Trump, grant me this boon." It wasn't a place where only the guy carrying the $1 million check got to walk in the door. And Trump could not abide that. It was a place where people came to be honored at the White House by the president, by the first lady, by the people of this country that they represent. And whether that was a World Series winning team, go Toronto, or whether that was a spelling bee winner, the reason Trump tore that building down is not just to build the ballroom, not just to build the Epstein entertainment complex. The reason he tore that building down is because when people came there, the focus was on them, not him. When people walked in that door, the focus wasn't about the Umber Overlord. It was about Sally Smith from East Cornfield, West Virginia, who won a spelling bee, who won a science fair, who accomplished something that was good. It was about artists, composers, and creators. It was about hardworking Americans. It was about the families, the Gold Star families of lost soldiers. It was about something more than one man. And Trump cannot abide that. He cannot abide any attention for any other human being on this earth. He loathes it. The ballroom is a throne room. The ballroom is a way for him to compress more donors per square foot so that he can sit on a podium, on a plinth, and have them come and worship him. Because it's not a ballroom meant to honor anybody except him. It is only about him. It is solely and exclusively about him. And Donald Trump every day has proven something to you. If you don't think about it as the deliberate chaos, if you don't think about it as the deliberate corruption, if you don't think about it as the deliberate cruelty, it's easy to think, it's just Trump. He's crazy. He's not crazy. He's evil. Now, look, is he demented? Yes. But he's evil. And we don't want to say that word in this country. We don't want to say the word evil because it is a bright line. Once something's evil, it's awful hard for it to be redeemed. It's awful hard for it to turn around and say, "Oh, well, later, yeah, he was evil then, but now he's a fine guy." He has never been, and he will never be anything but this. They knew the pain this would cause America. They knew it, and they wanted to cause it. It was sadistic. It was destructive. It was purposeless. Donald Trump and the people around him who enable Donald Trump every day, who say, "Yes, boss, let's blow those boats up. Drugs, maybe, but we'll blow them up." The people around him every day that say, "Yeah, you know what, boss, is a really great idea is to have these ICE agents with masks and guns and no badges and no warrants and no probable cause pick up whoever the fuck they want American citizens, yeah, fuck you. You're going in the ICE detention center till we decide what to do with you. The people around Trump who empower him and say, hey, you know what? Let's keep the government shut down so we don't have to vote on the Epstein files. Let's keep the government shut down so we can screw more Americans over. Let's keep the government shut down so Russ Vought can be more of an arsonist. Every day, those people do things that should disqualify them from any future role in polite society. And I want to go back and you think about that list I gave you a minute ago. Think about those companies, those people that I talked to you about. Right now, they have a simple, facile explanation for what they do. In public, they'll say, well, we're just trying to be full participants in the process in Washington. In private, they will tell you, yeah, if we don't do this, man, he's going to really screw us. And that'll hurt our quarterly report. That'll hurt our stock prices and that'll bring shareholder value down. Yes. Yes, it would. It would bring shareholder value down because Trump would lose his mind. He'd throw a shit fit. He'd throw a hissy. He'd go after your companies. He'd say to the FCC or the FEC or the FTC or the SEC or any of a number of other government agencies, well, you know, that guy's not being nice to me, so go investigate it. He would do the business equivalent of what he's doing to Jim Comey and John Brennan and Miles Taylor and Letitia James and so many other folks. And so, okay, your stock doesn't go up 8% in a quarter, it goes up 2.5%. Maybe it even goes down a little bit, but you're all making a terrible bet on your brand. You're all making a terrible, terrible bet on your brand. That terrible bet is that no one will ever remember what was done with your money in your name. Your terrible bet is that that plaque on the door that cheapens the White House grounds with this hideous Barbie dream house, Jeffrey Epstein ballroom, will not be a point of pride for you in the future. It will be a point of humiliation for you in the future. You will have to unwrap this for consumers and your clients in the future. Well, we had to do this because Trump was that. Once Trump's dead, then he will die. Trump will die. This is a 100% certitude in the history of the universe that he will, in fact, pass away from this mortal coil at some point.
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound.
People will not look at you and say, oh man, that was so terrible. You must have been going through pure hell to stand up to Donald Trump. That must have been awful. They won't say that to you because when this is over, there will have been people who never bent the knee. There will be people who never said, okay, you know, I know our values are one thing, but we're going to do what Trump wants instead. I'm not just talking about me or never Trump people or democracy folks. I'm talking about the 11 million people that were on the streets for no kings. They said no. They're consumers. They're customers. And I think this corporate capitulation to Trump is one of the worst bets in American business history. His brand is shit. His approval ratings are abysmal. He will be remembered not as an economic genius, not as a peacemaker. That's all a lie. It's always been a lie. He will not even be remembered as a great troll or a great charismatic president. He will be remembered as an evil man consumed with greed, consumed with hatred, who abused the American people, who harmed them at fundamental levels that, as he would say, have never been seen before. He will be remembered as the worst president in this country's history, and we will be lucky to survive it. And the people who've empowered him on his staff, and the people who've empowered him in Congress and the U.S. Senate, and the people who've empowered him on the courts, and the companies that pay for it all, the stink will never be off of you. You will never wash it off. It will never go away. It will be with you for the rest of your corporate and personal lives. Donald Trump is always the top of the enemies list because without him, these things could not happen this way. Without him, without the sui generis nature of Trump's connection to the Republican base and their desire to do violence on his behalf, which is the only thing that keeps about half of the Republicans in the House pretending to be full MAGA. They're scared to death they'll be killed by insane Trump supporters. That's a fact. Donald Trump peaks the enemies list. He's always at the top. This week we are reminded why. He is an evil president. He is an evil man. He is a force of destruction, corruption, cruelty, chaos, conspiracy, and revulsion in this country. And for my MAGA listeners and my Republican listeners and my conservative listeners, I want you to go and look at that picture of the East Wing's destruction. I want you to look at the hole he tore in the heart of this country by doing it. And many of you will publicly say, oh, shut up, lib. So what? Trump ruled you again. He does what he wants. But I hope a few of you will listen to those old, better angels where you once talked about preserving the history and the sinews of time that bound this country together. I hope some of you will go back and think, if we can't honor the people's house, if we can't believe that there was history bound up into those walls, those bricks, those stones, those tiles, those windows, If you can't believe that that was an important part of history to preserve, are you a conservative? I would argue not. But Donald Trump is at the peak of the enemies list this week, folks, because he belongs there and he will remain there. He is the all-time greatest champion of the enemies list. He is an enemy of the American people. He's an enemy of goodness. He's an enemy of this country. He's an enemy of the way of life in this country that millions of Americans have sacrificed for on battlefields and off for 250 years. No one has sat in that Oval Office with a heart full of as much darkness and evil as Donald Trump. His works must be destroyed entirely. I'm going to wrap this up because I have seen this pushback from a few Republicans, gentry Republicans, Noah Rothman among others, who pretend to be like I'm not MAGA. I just don't like the people who don't like Trump, the anti-Trumps. And they're all saying, like, there's no way anybody could ever tear down the Trump ballroom. Try me, Chief. If you were a Democratic nominee for president in 2028 and you win on that cold day in January, on that ice cold morning in January, as you place your hand on that Bible, swear that oath to the Constitution, and Donald Trump is on the helicopter out to Andrews for one last ride back on his stolen Qatari bribe jet, before you get in the car to head back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, I want you to text whoever it is with one word, and that word is go. And at that moment, you need to return the favor to MAGA and to this pernicious movement that is a cancer killing our nation. And that moment is when the cranes start and the earth movers start and the jackhammers start and they tear out the Trump ballroom and they level the earth where it once stood. And they tear out the Trump disco patio and they tear down off the walls the Timu whorehouse gradu decorative Liberace bukkake glitter spooge that's all over every wall now in the White House. And it won't be immediate. You can get the garbage off the walls immediately, but it won't be immediate. But someday after that, you have to promise yourself the gardeners will return to where Jackie Kennedy's garden once was and replant it. Maybe it's not the same exact design, but it's a design that reflects the beauty and dignity and stature of the White House. And those gardeners at the White House go into where the Rose Garden once was, once that patio is jackhammered out of there. And they begin to restore the Rose Garden to its dignity and stature that reflects the goodness of the White House. And then slowly, you have men and women who care about craft and care about history and care about endurance, return and begin rebuilding the East Wing. And maybe it's not exactly the same. Maybe it's not a one-to-one duplicate. That's okay. But it should reflect the dignity and the history and the stately nature of our White House, the people's house. And these would be men and women who understand the craft, building something to last, not for themselves, not for the president, not for corporate interests, but for this country, for America, to rebuild and restore the people's house to the dignity it once had. And these would be craftsmen of the old school, men and women who care about how the joins are built in the carpentry, how the stones are laid, how the windows are glazed, how the paint and plaster reflect the historic character of what we lost. And again, we can never duplicate what we had from 1902. It's gone now. But I want you to hold that vision in your mind, because right now the Trump folks are believing that once he takes a terrible action of destruction like this, that nothing can undo it. And they want to believe that because they want to believe that his power to do evil exceeds our power to do good. Let's prove them wrong. Thanks, folks. It's been the Enemies List. As always, I'm your host, Rick Wilson. I appreciate you listening. I really do. Catch me on my Substack, Against All Enemies. You can also catch me Mondays on Free Fast Politics with Molly Jong Fast. Tuesday nights streaming on Lincoln Square with the strategy session. Thursdays, the breakdown with Lincoln Square. Fridays, Behind the Numbers with Lincoln Square. You can also get me on the Lincoln Project podcast and on the Elephant in the Room podcast, as well as the fact that I am finishing up a book, and I appreciate all you riding with me during that. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.